freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round 2 recap for this week's John Deere Classic. And joining me to break it all down, it's Greg DuCharme. Greg, what's up?
What's going on, Rick? Happy to be here. The John Deere Classic underway.
There it is. Come on. Could you ask for anything better on a Friday night than a round 2 recap episode of the John Deere Classic? And by the way, Greg, did you know that we have been nominated, or I guess we are already finalists of the People's Choice Podcast Awards in the sports category? Did you know that?
No, but what a pleasant surprise. That's the only thing better than a round 2 recap of the John Deere Classic is that kind of news, Rick. I'm fired up.
That's what I'm thinking. So a huge shout out to all the listeners, all the fans, much appreciated. But I only ask for one more thing, and that is that you go to podcastawards.com/app/sign up, which obviously the link will be in the description, and toggle down to the sports category, and you can nominate us, the First Cut Podcast, for that award. So very cool, little call to action. Try to activate the people, Greg.
Hey, I like it. I mean, if you like what you listen to, if you like what you hear from us, then share it. You know, I mean, hey, this is the People's Choice Award, so it's really up to you, the viewer, the listener. If you like what you hear, if you feel like we give you good insight, if we help make you a little bit of money or help you sound a little bit smarter when you're hanging out with your friends, then share the wealth a little bit. So, but thank you for all the support already. It's really cool. And Rick, this is a huge testament to you as our host, and a huge testament to Jacob Alex, our producer, for all the hard work that he does. So props to you too as well.
Yes, Jacob's job is essentially herding cats, is what we are. He gets us all in the right place at the right time. He makes it happen. And to your point, if you don't like what you're hearing, why are you still listening? So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, hey, I mean, look, sometimes if you don't like it, at least it elicits an emotion. I can't stand these guys. I can't, hey, you know what? If that's the way you feel, then we still welcome you.
Absolutely right. Well, a welcome day for Luke List in Silvis, because he shot a 63 on Friday to take the lead at the John Deere Classic. Technically, there are still a couple of guys out on the course that could change this, but looking like Luke List is going to be your 36-hole leader. And Greg, we talk about poppers all the time. Luke List, the ultimate popper. 14 missed cuts this season. He has offset that with 3 top 10s. He's getting one of those good putting weeks. We know he's not a very strong putter, but man, when he gets going, it's really, really impressive to watch.
Yeah, we call this holding your breath, right? The ability to just keep on going. You and I go play, Rick, and we're going to get to where there's going to be a place where we get uncomfortable, where we're playing so well we're uncomfortable. Luke List is not one of those guys. He can hold his breath from 1 to 18. He looks for he's not waiting for the clubhouse to get there when he gets a good round going. He's hoping for more holes. He just wants to keep on going. And can you blame him? I mean, today, Rick, he had get this, on 7 of the holes, he had birdie putts inside of 8 feet. On 7 of the holes, he had birdie putts inside of 8 feet. That's how you shoot 8 under and lose strokes putting.
He did. He lost 0.08 strokes putting. Oh my God. He gained 3.4 with his irons/wedges on approach. That is absolutely phenomenal. Speaking of when I get uncomfortable on the course, Greg, it's usually about if I'm 2 over through 7. That's the point I'm uncomfortable. What is
that's where you feel like you got a really good round going?
Yeah, that's when I'm like, oh, hold my breath here. It's 2 over through 7.
Yeah, okay. Hey, that's a good point.
For Luke List, it's like 5 under through 6.
I don't think that makes him uncomfortable. Look, there's an attitude shift. I'm 500 through 6. That means I got 12 more holes to go. I got 12 more birdie chances, and all I have is tap-ins left. Let's see what we can do here. So, I mean, he made it look so easy today. And what really helps, and this made me think of you, he hit, it seemed like watching every single hole that he had, he was right in position. And what you talked about earlier in the week what the model talked about, and you pointed out, is how important driving accuracy is here. Luke List is not an accurate driver of the ball traditionally, but today he was. He had 13 of 14 fairways, and in 36 holes, he's only missed 5 fairways. And there he is sitting on top of the leaderboard. So you put the ball in position out here, and birdie opportunities definitely rise up.
Do you know how many PGA Tour wins Luke List has?
1, right?
I thought it was 1. I actually thought maybe I forgot about 1, and I would have probably guessed 1 or 2.
Is it 0?
He is 0.
It's 0.
He has 2 he won a Corn Ferry Tour event last year, and he won a Corn Ferry Tour event in 2012. But I almost certainly thought he had 1. He lost to Justin Thomas in a playoff 2 years ago at Honda.
I remember the one at Honda. That's where Justin Thomas had the fan kicked out because he yelled, "Get in the bunker." So there was all that controversy going on. He also gave Justin Thomas, not to call him out, but he gave us a little expletive that we could read his lips on. So that was a fun tournament, a memorable one Luke List was a part of. But for some reason, I was confusing him with the guy with a great sponsor in the MLB, and Adam Long. So I was thinking that he won the American Express, but that was Adam Long. So, but yeah, my mistake. 0 wins on tour. It is kind of surprising.
I thought it was at least 1 or 2, but no, still looking for that first one. Right behind is Sebastian Munoz. At this point, the only golfer at 12 under. Again, that might change by the time you hear this, but 12 under par for Sebastian Munoz, following up his 63. Always hard to follow up a great round with another good one. He did pretty well. 67. That's 4 under par on Friday. He played the entire front 9, which was his second 9. In 9 pars, he made his 4 birdies on the back. The second 9, the back 9, that's the side you have to make your hay on. And he's leading the field in strokes gained approach. So you would think there's a hair of staying power here.
Right. It definitely, both these guys at the top look like there's a lot of staying power, which makes it hard to pick at this point. This gets down to who's going to putt better over the weekend. But Rick, the interesting thing about the second 9 here is at one point today, it was playing 173 under par cumulative for the whole field, which equaled the entire day 1 for both 9s. Just the second 9 today got to 173 under par, which was the same total as yesterday's round for the whole field. So the second 9 definitely presented a lot of opportunities for birdies. We saw a lot of really low. Patrick Rogers was 6 under on that side. There were a number of players who really took advantage of it. So in a way, it's disappointing to make 9 straight pars out here. You feel like you're getting lapped. But when you can turn and when you can come back in 4 under, it definitely salvages a pretty nice day. If that's your slow day this week, you're going to have a pretty good chance of winning.
Do you know how many PGA Tour wins Sebastian Munoz has?
I had a feeling this is coming. I should have looked this up. Sebastian Munoz, he has 1 win.
He has 1 win. Do you know what it was? I would have gotten this, but I love Sebastian Munoz, so this isn't fair. He's like one of my guys, so yeah, I know this. He held up the trophy. That is a chicken or rooster. No,
Sanderson Farms. He won Sanderson Farms.
Sanderson Farms. He also has a Corn Ferry Tour when he won the 2019 Sanderson Farms. He won on the Corn Ferry in 2016, and he's had a couple of close calls since. Yeah. But Munoz, 1 shot back of Luke List at the moment. And then we've got just a pile up behind those guys: Adam Schenk, Chesson Hadley, Brandon Hagee, Chase Seifert, Ryan Moore still out on the course at 11 under. He could play spoiler and ruin this entire podcast if he goes out and makes a couple of more birdies in his final few holes. But our friends over at William Hill have installed at the moment Luke List at 5-1. He's the favorite. Ryan Moore, because those holes in hand, Greg, and even though they are on the front 9 of the course, is next at 7-1, and then Sebastian Munoz at 8-1. So I guess really the big storyline here is what happens to Ryan Moore over his final 5 holes, because that number could move a lot depending on what happens.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in this year, the year of the comeback, Ryan Moore is ready to get a victory, but it doesn't seem like he would have the staying power based on his play throughout the entirety of the year. He's not a guy that you're used to seeing in contention, whereas a Luke List and a Sebastian Munoz, you feel like they pop up from time to time. You look at some of the other guys on this leaderboard. Kevin Na kind of jumps off the page at me as a guy who has gone really low on weekends to end up winning. Ches Reeves done the same thing. So there are a couple guys here. And the other story that I really like is Chesson Hadley, who is kind of very quickly coming off of a disappointing Sunday in contention where he wasn't used to that. He wasn't comfortable with that. So I'm looking for Chesson to have a great round tomorrow and a nice little redemption story to take a Sia Najad trip down Narrative Street. So those are some of the stories that I'm really looking at. But the model definitely points to the two guys at the top. It points to Luke List. It points to Sebastian Munoz. But the big question is, are they going to be able to make the putts required over the weekend? Although you look at a guy with really strong strokes gain approach like Luke List, can you really give yourself 7 birdie putts inside of 8 feet and a bunch of looks inside of 15 and 20 feet? But can you have that many birdie putts from that close range for 2 more days? I'm not so sure.
I'm not so sure either. Ryan Moore, holes to play. He's playing the more difficult side, 5 PGA Tour victories. One of them, this event in 2016. We've got the big names, Greg, across the pond and some truly bizarre stuff happening. Maybe golf related, maybe not. We're going to talk about that, but first we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsors. And we're back. The Scottish Open features the bigger names in the world. And one of the biggest, John Rahm, is tied atop the leaderboard with Thomas Dietrich and Jack Sr. And I was talking to Coach last night, Greg. Rahm goes out, wins the U.S. Open. This is the next time we see him. Is he just going to just run roughshod through the world of golf? Like, was that just this watershed floodgate moment?
Is it a floodgate moment? It's hard to call it a floodgate moment. I look at, and the only reason is I think this has been ready to go for a long time. And it's not that much different than his play has been for an entire year. The one thing that's happened for John Rahm is he's got a putter that works for him. So he goes through an equipment change from last year where he was playing great golf last year. Remember what he did in the playoffs. I mean, it seemed like he and Dustin Johnson were the 1-2 punch every single week. It was either going to be John Rahm or Dustin Johnson. I can't remember a time aside from the Tiger era where I felt so sure that one of 2 players would win an event. And then they actually come down the stretch, and they actually do. So very, very unique. But then he changes equipment and he loses the putter. And all of a sudden he's having one of his best ball striking years this year. And he can't make any putts. He's not making any birdie putts. And then all of a sudden he finds a putter that works for him, that is also allowed in his contract. And all of a sudden we get this. So it's no surprise to me. And if he wins this week and next week, do you consider that a floodgate? I think it's something that's coming. And at the same time, the opportunity for him is really sitting right there for the taking because so many of the other top players are not in peak form. They're not playing great. There's not really a guy you look at and say, well, it's either John Rahm or Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas. They all, I know JT's right there this week, but he hasn't been playing with the level of consistency that John Rahm has. So I think this year he's been a clear-cut best player in the world, and we're just kind of seeing that play out, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, I think we have a very, very good golfer with a lot of confidence, and that is a scary thought for the rest of the world. Lee Westwood, Matt Fitzpatrick within a shot, Justin Thomas within a handful, Ian Poulter as well, so a couple of big names certainly lurking on this board. But one name that is not going to be around for the weekend, unfortunately, is Rory McIlroy, who didn't have a great week and had a bizarre moment on the first tee on Friday. Literally a spectator, a man walked up and removed a club and a head cover from Rory McIlroy's bag and looked like he was going to take some hacks off the first tee. It was a very bizarre moment that ended up in, producer Jacob is showing this now. He was eventually kind of shuffled off here But just a lot of questions looking around. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life.
He's on the
tee box.
Ropes. He's on the tee box. He could hit a ball. It's so bizarre, and you don't know how he got out there. And all that I can think of is these protocols, right? COVID protocols. What if they take that guy away? I don't know. I don't even want to go.
What about security protocols, Greg? Where's security?
I mean, you think about all the questions that are being asked about the Open Championship and their protocols next week, and how many fans are going to be on property, and all that drama that's sort of taking place. And you have a guy walking up on a tee box, touching someone's equipment. It's risky beyond. I mean, yeah, it's one thing that he took a club out of Rory's. Any idiot, for lack of a better term, could run up and try to take something. I mean, but he's just, I don't know what he's doing. This is one of the most bizarre things that I've ever seen, because he's so calm too. And everybody's just kind of confused. Wait, what do we do? So a bizarre thing. And he looked so surprised, disappointed when he got escorted away. This was, I mean, I don't know what to say about this one.
I don't know. Everyone's looking around like, is this guy supposed to be here? Who is this? What is happening? Very, very strange moment there. I imagine security is certainly going to be beefed up over the course of the next couple of days. And we'll be back after rounds 3 and 4 of the John Deere Classic to break it all down, see how this one ends. But for now, let me thank producer Jacob, does all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there is Greg DuCharme, who you can find on Twitter at @TheRealGFD. And you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut, and we'll catch you next time.